Her body was found in a Utah canyon, but DNA waited more than 50 years. On November 27, 1974, the body of 17-year-old Laura Ann Aime was found in American Fork Canyon, Utah. Officials later described her as bound, beaten, and without clothing. The details are difficult, and they should be handled with care. Laura was a teenager whose life had been taken, and for decades, the central question remained unresolved in the official record. Who killed her? The answer, as it would eventually be confirmed, did not arrive in the weeks after her body was discovered. It did not arrive in the years that followed. It did not even arrive when Ted Bundy verbally acknowledged responsibility for Laura's murder before his execution in 1989. He provided no details, and for investigators, words without supporting forensic confirmation left the case in a complicated place. There was suspicion. There was history. There was a name that had long been associated with the crime. But suspicion is not the same as proof. And in a case this old, that distinction matters. Laura Ann Aime disappeared on October 31st, 1974, after leaving a party in Orem, Utah. That is the first confirmed point in the timeline. It was Halloween night, and the setting was ordinary. A young woman leaving a party in her own community. What happened after that remains the missing middle of the case. Laura was not found that night. She was not found the next day. Nearly a month later, on November 27th, her body was discovered in American Fork Canyon. The distance between Orem and American Fork Canyon became more than geography. It became the shape of the investigation. One place marked Laura's last known movements. The other marked where the crime was discovered. Between those 2 points was the unknown, how she was taken, where she was held or moved, and what happened before her death. Even now, after the case has been officially closed, the public record does not fully explain those final hours. At the time of Laura's murder, Ted Bundy was living in Salt Lake City, Utah, and studying law at the University of Utah. That confirmed fact placed him in the state. During the same period, Laura vanished and was later found dead. Authorities long suspected Bundy was responsible for her murder because of his presence in the area and his known criminal activities during that time. But for many years, that remained a suspicion, not a forensic conclusion. That is one of the most important lines in this story. Bundy's name carried enormous weight, but investigators still needed evidence that could survive scrutiny. A pattern can be meaningful. A location can be relevant. A statement can be important. But none of those things by themselves necessarily answer every legal and scientific question in a homicide case. Before his execution in 1989, Bundy verbally acknowledged responsibility for Laura Ann Aime's murder. But according to the case summary, he gave no details. That absence mattered. He did not provide a full account that could reconstruct what happened after Laura left the party. He did not give investigators a public explanation of the sequence of events. And without details, his acknowledgement could not do what physical evidence later would. It could not identify the exact surviving evidence. It could not independently explain the crime scene. It could not fill in the gap between Laura's disappearance and the discovery of her body. And it could not offer the kind of confirmation that modern DNA testing would eventually provide. So the case remained in a painful state of partial knowledge. Laura's family and the public could know that Bundy had been suspected. They could know that he had acknowledged responsibility. But the official record still lacked the final forensic link that would conclusively connect him to Laura's murder. That is why this case did not simply end in 1989. It waited. Cold cases often wait in ways that are difficult to see from the outside. They wait in files. They wait in evidence rooms. They wait in the memories of investigators and families. And sometimes, they wait for science to become capable of answering a question that earlier generations could only preserve. That appears to be the key to Laura Ann Aime's case. The evidence did not need a new rumor. It did not need a dramatic new theory. It needed technology that could analyze what had survived from 1974. In 2023, Utah's State Crime Lab acquired new DNA extraction technology capable of analyzing degraded samples. That development was crucial because evidence from older cases is often limited by time. Material can degrade. Samples can be difficult to interpret. Earlier testing methods may not be able to produce the clarity investigators need. But when technology improves, preserved evidence can sometimes be examined in a new way. Nothing about that changes what happened to Laura in 1974. It changes what investigators are able to prove decades later. For more than 50 years, the case existed in the space between suspicion and confirmation. Then in 2026, DNA testing confirmed that Ted Bundy's DNA matched evidence from Laura's case. Authorities said that result conclusively linked him to her murder. With that finding, the long-standing suspicion became an official forensic conclusion. The announcement did not reveal every detail of the crime. It did not fully reconstruct Laura's final hours. It did not explain every movement between the party in Orem and American Fork Canyon. But it answered the core identity question that had remained unresolved for generations. The evidence linked Ted Bundy to Laura Ann Aime's murder, and the case was officially closed. That closure is significant, but it is also complicated. By 2026, Bundy was long dead. There would be no trial in Laura's case. There would be no courtroom testimony from him. There would be no cross-examination, no sentencing, and no direct legal confrontation over this specific murder. The official resolution arrived as a cold case closure, not as a prosecution. For that reason, the language matters. Authorities had long suspected Bundy. He had verbally acknowledged responsibility without giving details. And only after the DNA testing did officials say the evidence conclusively linked him to Laura's murder. The case moved from suspicion to confirmation because the science finally provided the missing connection. In a serious investigation, that distinction is not technical. It is central. A case can be widely discussed for decades and still remain officially unresolved. A person can be suspected and still not be forensically confirmed. A statement can be noted and still leave unanswered questions. Laura's case shows how long that gap can last and how much depends on the evidence being preserved until the right tools exist. It also shows the limits of what even powerful evidence can do. DNA can identify a link. It can help close a case. It can correct the historical record. But it cannot always restore a full narrative. It cannot tell Laura's family every detail of what she experienced. It cannot recover every lost hour. It cannot undo the decades in which the case remained unresolved. The official closure gives Laura Ann Aime her place in the record with greater certainty. Her death is no longer left as an open question in the same way. The person now confirmed as responsible is Ted Bundy. But closure in a file is not the same as completeness in a human story. That is why the unanswered questions still matter. What happened after Laura left the party in Orem? How did she come to be in American Fork Canyon? What did Bundy mean when he acknowledged responsibility but gave no details? The public record does not fully explain these questions, and it would be unfair to treat the silence as evidence of anything beyond what officials have confirmed. Still, the silence is part of the case. It is the space between October 31 and November 27. It is the distance between a teenager leaving a party and investigators later recovering her body in the canyon. It is the long delay between suspicion and DNA confirmation. And it is the reason this case still feels heavy, even after the official answer finally arrived. There is also a broader meaning in the timing. In 1974, investigators did not have the same tools available to modern crime labs. In 2023, new DNA extraction technology gave Utah's state crime lab the ability to analyze degraded samples. In 2026, that technology helped confirm the connection between Bundy and evidence in Laura's case. The timeline is a reminder that some cases are not forgotten simply because they remain unsolved. Sometimes they are waiting for science to catch up. For families, that wait can be immeasurable. For investigators, it can be a long discipline of preservation and review. For the public, it can be tempting to treat a famous suspect's name as the end of the story. But Laura Ann Aime's case shows why evidence still matters, even when suspicion seems obvious. The final answer had to be proven, not assumed. And when it was proven, the result changed the status of the case. Laura's murder is now officially closed, with Ted Bundy confirmed as the perpetrator. That confirmation does not erase the loss. It does not restore what was taken. But it does mean the official record no longer has to rely only on suspicion, acknowledgement, or historical association. The DNA result gave investigators what had been missing for more than half a century: a conclusive link. What remains is the human cost behind that conclusion. Laura Ann Aime was 17 years old. She disappeared after leaving a party in Orem. Her body was found nearly a month later in American Fork Canyon. For decades, her case carried the weight of unanswered questions. And in 2026, science finally named what investigators had long suspected. The story ends with closure, but not with every answer. It ends with confirmation, but also with the recognition that some parts of Laura's final hours may never be fully known. That is the difficult truth of many cold cases. Even when the identity question is solved, the absence left behind can remain. What happened in those missing hours is still the question that hangs over this case. But the official record now says what it could not say for generations. Ted Bundy's DNA matched evidence from Laura Ann Aime's murder. And the case that waited more than 50 years has finally been closed. Follow Whispered Cases for a new case every week. Subscribe so you never miss one.